Hey everyone, how's it going? Pecan here with some botting lists. I've been kind of going over personally what list I want to run for Bonney in set 8. We have a lot of change up obviously with the meta. A lot of people are starting to run different things. A lot of decks are kind of coming out that weren't really thought about, and realistically I feel like our biggest threat is still removal in terms of like Rob Lucci, and in turn the new ST14 Luffy deck, because it runs a lot of the same kind of package, that Jack, Brook, removal, Sanji, stuff like that. So I think this list that I found and kind of tweaked a little bit for my own personal sake really helps us in the Lucci matchup, which traditionally was just really bad for us. And I kind of want to also just showcase a couple of different lists that I've played with, and that ones you can kind of test out for yourself, because a lot of this comes down to preference of how you want to play, because a lot of the times the strategy is still the same for those tough matchups, right? For Lucci, I've kind of always talked about wanting to just freeze their bodies rather than KO their stuff so they don't kind of recur their effects. But getting into the list here, again, this is one that I probably will be running for the most part. I wanted to get the Baby 5 Searcher package in, but it still feels a little bit kind of wonky with two different searchers, with the addition of more cards that aren't searchable from 8 with the Carrot, which is a very important card in my opinion in the meta right now. It really helps us against very aggressive boards, very much any board that goes really wide really fast, like Zoro, Calgara, Reiju. Very important to be able to freeze those 7 costs. Now, getting into the list, we've got our 4 Cavendish, 4 Scratchman of Pooh, the 1 cost. Running both of these is just really good. I know there's a lot of debate on, which is better for the matchups when you were running the Baby 5 package and more the Don Quixote 2Ks of which Scratchman of Pooh to run, but now we can just run both at pretty high copies. We've got 4 of the 1 cost, 3 of the 2 cost. This does help in the mirror matchup, Wrestling a Dawn. And then we got Izo, 4 copies, 10 drop at 3 copies, Rosinante 8 drop at 3 copies. You'll notice for our top end, we don't have the Captain Kidd in this. I felt like, personally, the Captain Kidd felt kind of slow for a lot of matchups. And I know the meta is a little bit slower, and the 8 drop Captain Kidd helps with any of the yellow matchups. However, I feel like playing out the 8 drop Kidd into the 5 drop Bonney to freeze one of their Don helps tremendously, keeping them off of that 10 Don curve, mainly talking about pudding. By the time we get to 8 Don, they're probably already on 10. So keeping them off that 10 mom while establishing 2 bodies that they can't KO with any of their effects, feels great. And also when I play out the Captain Kidd, I felt either I was already ahead or I was a little bit too behind for it. I feel like the 8 drop Rosinante helps me just get ahead a little bit, because no matter what deck we're playing against, it is very tricky for them to get rid of the 8 cost first and then also have enough Don to get rid of our 5 cost. So it really helps. And also cutting out the 8 drop Captain Kidd, I've cut out the Rosinante 2 cost blocker. So that let me have enough room to have my 4 Hoodie Joan, 2 Zoro, and just increase my number of 5 drops in a little bit. So I've got 4 Rouge, 3 of the 5 cost Bonney, 4 of the Basil Hawkins. Obviously, I've kind of talked about how I think every Bonney list always is going to have this set as a 4 of. 2 of the Luffy. I think this is a card that I've seen a lot. A lot of people have talked about. Obviously, this is not my original idea. This helps us in any kind of black matchup because we play this out with the Rosinante. If we have 3 cards on board, obviously our curve would probably go the Hawkins, because that's our hardest body to remove. And then on our 8 Don or 9 Don turn, depending on which we go, we play out the 8 drop into the Luffy. So we would have Hawkins, 8 drop, and then Luffy on board. And then with that, we kind of have a very protected board and pretty high power characters that we can start swinging out with, 6, 7, 8. 3, Carrot. Again, one of my favorite cards from the new set. Just really strong against some of the more aggressive decks in the format. 4, the Bonney Searcher. Again, 3 of the 2 cost Scratchman of Pooh. and 3 0-cost events. With this, we have a lot of 2Ks. Probably could cut to make another space for something somewhere, but I like the list. I think it is very much how I wanted to play Bonney in set 8 with just a lot of freeze, you know. I love the 10 cost. Having it not searchable means that I don't like it at 2 copies personally, because then I feel like I don't find it enough. Having 3 copies, I feel like I find at least 1, especially, you know, being a 5 life leader. Those life are our resources, a way to find 5 more cards to help us win a game. So we have a decent chance to find at least 1 10 drop. And then if we don't, we still have 3 copies of our 8 drop, which is really strong. And just our other top end that is searchable, you know, like our Hawkins. Like if we play enough Hawkins, you can still win a game, right? And also the Luffy is supernova, so he is searchable, which is great. So that makes another card that is searchable. So that's why we only need 2 copies of him. Now you'll also notice from that list, I didn't have the Electrical Luna. I think that sometimes with 3 copies of Carrot, we don't really need it too much. However, it is really good card. It is a really good card. And also the trigger is just fantastic. It could probably save you from game a few times. Rest one of your opponent's characters. Of course, we can't rely on that, but it is nice. This is a list that I was running for a while that incorporates that Baby 5 Searcher. So if you want something that has both searchable packages, this is something that you can incorporate. Of course, we could probably, in this list, I would say cut out the 3-cost Electrical Luna to make room for that Luffy. I think that would be probably your best bet here, because that just gives you 2 copies, you know. And as you can see, the list is pretty much the same, except we've cut out some of the Supernova 2Ks and the Izo to make room for our Don Quixote package. And also, being that we can search our Don Quixote top end, we can cut down the 8 cost to 2. Honestly, we could cut down the 10 drop to 2 if we needed space. So if you wanted to keep Electrical Luna while adding in the Luffy, I would say space could be found here, and maybe 1 copy of the Luna to get 2 of those in there. But I think I'm starting to like more of just the Bonney Supernova Searcher package. I don't know. That was the list that I was running for the most part in set 7 and did very well. I think realistically, I don't like the Captain Kidd, the A drop anymore. So it does kind of feel a little bit worse that most of our top end isn't searchable, right? Having those 2 copies of Captain Kidd gives you something to search for our top end. So definitely could see lists, and if you like the 8-drop Captain Kidd, still running it. However, for me, I think the 8-drop Captain Kidd is just not as needed in the meta anymore. Of course, here was a list that I was initially running in set 8 when I was testing stuff still back in set 7 with the Captain Kidd in addition to our list, right? Even having the Pedro, that was a card that I was really just kind of hoping would be good, because I think it is pretty good, honestly. It has a great effect. Resting a Don can really throw off your opponent's curve for their turn, because they're already kind of trying to think about how to sequence their plays against Bonney to start with, given that Bonney rests anything. So if you're planning to play something big out and we're also going into like a 10 Don turn, your opponent might not want to risk playing out that character lest we just rest it and then keep it frozen the next turn with a 10 drop. So they might want to swing out with what they already have on board first. And then if we know that they're on like 8, 9, or 10 Don, we could block out with the Pedro and then kind of mess with their Don they have available. Also, just KOing a rested 6 cost is huge. Like, that's crazy, because I believe the sequencing goes for our leader ability first and then blocks and then counter. So we could leader ability, block, and then kill a 6 cost with Pedro. Pretty good, but again, I think some of the lists are pretty tight. He's not searchable. And on 4 Don, I'd probably rather play the Arouge anyway. So in this list, getting the Captain Kidd, I would probably just make it more similar to the first list that I showed that was focusing on the Supernova stuff and just keeping 2 copies. Even only 1. If you really wanted to put in a Captain Kidd, I think at 1 copy, he can still do his job, because never in a game did I play out 2 Captain Kidd, right? I feel like playing out one does the job. But then, of course, you have to have the blockers to go along with him. I didn't really like Bartolomeo. It was just kind of a one to go against Red Purple Law, but now that he's banned, we don't need to worry about him. He is a searchable blocker, but honestly, I'd rather have this at like 4 copies so we just more reliably find the Rosinante to play out with the kid. I still think Rosinante is a great blocker, so putting him in your list can definitely help, but realistically, if you're not running the Captain Kid, you might not even need this, which is what I've been testing. But I wanted to go over this list for today, the one with Luffy. This is the one that I'm testing right now, and I feel like it has the best kind of chance against black decks, which are very popular in the meta. Black Yellow Luffy is running a lot of removal now that Red Purple Law is kind of gone. Lucci's still very popular. The new Luffy starter deck is very popular, and I think this kind of list helps us a lot with that. Just the 8-drop in general, and then with the addition of Carrot and 3 copies of the 10-drop, we can try to freeze their board for the most part. And also Bonney, I feel like it's just too good of a card to cut. Keeping their Jack kind of locked down prevents them from cycling, prevents them from swinging 8, or even if they don't want to use the Jack ability. Or just freezing a Dawn means that if they're going to play out Gecko Moria, they can't really KO 2 things reliably if we have the 8-drop into a Bonney to freeze a Dawn. Like if a Lucci player is going into 9 Dawn, keeping them at 8 active means that they probably won't be able to KO that much. And then also depending if they have, if we have like an Arouge or a Cavendish on board to keep us with 1 Dawn active for leader building, it makes their math a little bit harder. But this is the list that I'm running. Of course, let me know in the comments what you think of all the lists if you've been playing Bonney, stuff you would add, take out. Again, I kind of want to try 1 copy of Captain Kid, but I don't really know what I would take out. Maybe I don't know. I personally just haven't been liking the 8-drop Captain Kid, but let me know in this list what you would all take out. Maybe a 2K. Honestly, we have a lot of 2Ks, given that we have 4, 4, 3. Like, that's a lot of 2Ks. I think 1 Captain Kid could be good in the list, but then you have to make room for the blockers to go along with him. So that kind of really hurts us. I'm going to get in some games for this list, though. Enough yapping. But these are the lists that I've kind of been seeing and testing out for Bonney in set 8. I think this list particularly is going to be one that you'll see a lot, at least with you know, a couple of the key pieces. You know, this Luffy I think is going to be very popular. Carrot, obviously, and then the 8-drop are going to be pretty popular. So let me know in the comments. Let's get in some games. All right, we got Carrot. Interesting. We will take second. Ooh, all right. I think we're going to keep, just off the fact that we get a 10-drop and a Searcher, a 2K Cavendish. These really help. Of course, Carrot can just rest our Cavendish. But hopefully in just any kind of green matchup, we find our top end. We find a Hawkins. I know people in my last Carrot video talked about the Milky. I kind of forgot because I was running the stage that you could use her ability and keep her safe. So that's on me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, I don't need a 3rd Cavendish, right? I think I'll take another to maybe find another Hawkins, right? Because if I don't just draw into the Arouge, we'll need something else to kind of play out next turn anyway. And then they'll just swing 8, that's fine. We get a Carrot, lovely. We get 2, so we'll just swing at their Wanda. And then we'll probably just double search. We get the Bonney, which I'd rather probably take right now. And just a 2K. I don't think this matchup totally matters which one I take. Probably, but we'll just pass. Unfortunately, no Dawn up, so I can't play out the Carrot right away. Interesting. Interesting. For sure. For sure. We probably will just take. We get the Arouge. Nice. So next turn they could just carrot and like freeze any of the 5-drops that we play down, right? So that might be fine. If I play a Rouge, he's definitely just gonna rest it and just swing into it, or freeze it. I'll probably swing into it being in the 5k, and that might be fine. But if I Cavendish, he might leave it on board just because he can freeze it, and then I can freeze his carrot if he plays out the 5-drop carrot, hopefully. Swing 7 is his first life, so I assume he would take. But if he focuses on freezing this, still might give me opportunity to search one more time, get some more value out of my 1-drop searchers. He takes no trigger. He is going to 7 Don, so he could Hody as well and just clear my board. But I think I could counter out of that. Let's see. Because he could just carrot. I didn't look at what he found. Okay, so just Bonnies to do that. That's fine. Prevent the swing. Yep. So we can carrot. Unfortunately, we can. Ooh, we get a Zoro. That could be good for this matchup. We don't get. Like, I kind of want to play out the Rosinante, just have another body on board. Of course, in these kind of green mirror matches, just having a lot of big bodies definitely helps, right? But if I Bonney, that leaves me 3 Don, so I could swing 7. Do I need to? Not really. Because I could carrot as well. And then also swing 7. I think carrot could be a good play too. If I Rosinante into the carrot. I won't be able to leader ability, but I think that it'd probably be my best bet. Because I still have a lot of counter. So we'll just swing 5. If I chose to instead take the leader swing or counter out of it and then just rest his 5-drop Bonney, I would debate just playing out the carrot as a 5 and then swinging 7 into a body to demand a 2k, you know? But here, yep, most likely he just takes. So we'll just 8-drop into the carrot to freeze his Inarashi, the Dog Storm. So right now, if he plays out a Zoro, I'm not really too worried about it. We can block her up, and that's honestly fine with me. Meaning that he probably won't. Let's see. I think we'll just 1k from a Cavendish because it's pointless to play out a second one while he has this one just kind of held hostage here. See, next turn, if I swing at all, I could just play out the 10-drop. I think that would be my best bet. He can kill one of my 5 costs because they'll both be rested, not active, so we wouldn't get Rosinante's effect. So I think we'll just play out the 10-drop, not swing, maybe. Or does it matter too much if he kills my Cavendish? Maybe I do want to swing. I think maybe we do want to swing. Because we need to apply a little bit of pressure to his life. Right now, he'll have to choose to kill one of our 5-drops. which is fine, I guess. We have another carrot. We have other ways to kind of get her Dawn back if I want to play out in a Rouge next turn to kind of block her up. But right now, I think our board is pretty threatening now that we've established our 10 drop. And we've kind of got him locked down. So yeah, he'll kill one of our 5 drops. Carrot. Okay, so we'll just swing 5 of life then. Okay. Yeah, definitely the better bet to keep our Cavendish on board if he can ensure that he can freeze it this turn if he plays his own 10 drop, right? Because then we can't just replace it, and I will counter out of this one to risk not going too low in life. Yep, a 10 drop coming in. In this turn, I might play out the Zoro because I can swing 10 into one of his characters, probably lets it go. If not, I get a lot of cards out of his hand, at least 3. Meaning that going for game the following turn with Zoro would be not that bad. Because in this turn, he didn't have the Pedro blocker. So if I had played Zoro and left 1 Dawn open and swung there, you know, he could have rested that last Dawn. But now we have 2 life, 1 Dawn. Even if he Hodies, I have a lot of counter, being that I have a 2k, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1ks, and a 0 cost event. So even if he Hodies, leaving himself with 3 Dawn, that's like a 5, like a 6, 7, 7, 8, 10. Might still be able to get out of that. Given that he is, don't know why he just swung 9 there first. Maybe he thinks going 9-9 is enough to get out, but if so, we're definitely going to just take this next swing to life if he goes 9 and then just counter out of the last one, kind of leaving us up a full board to go for game. Yep, we'll take, and then even better, we have a Hody if we needed it, but I don't think we need it with an 8 drop, 10 drop Zoro Cavendish. Like, that's kind of overkill. We'll just 2k and 0 cost to go to 10, and that should be GG essentially with what our board is, even though he has 7 cards in hand, right? We can go 9. So what I will do here is not do that. We will activate 2 to restand, then swing 6, getting us back to 10 Dawn essentially. So I still have 2 swings from Zoro. We'll go 5. Just get 1 card out of their hand. Eight to get 2. They take. We will go. So I need 1 Dawn for Zoro essentially. So I can swing like something big still. Do essentially, even if this is an Electrical Luna. Yeah. Okay. yeah. He quit. GG. All right. We got a Luffy. We do get to go second, which is good for us. We get the 8 drop and our 5 Bonney, so we'll keep, even though we don't have a turn to play for us essentially on 4 Dawn. That Hody will help us. Honestly, we can probably counter out now to play Hody more on curve. Okay, he takes an Ice Age. I'll still take the first one just in case we got the Rouge. We don't. So unfortunately, we don't have a play here besides just going 8 at life, leaving 1 up to rest something. Unfortunately, Carrot will never be able to freeze Jack because he's an 11 cost on board, 12 with Luffy having 1 Dawn. But us having these Hawkins does help a lot because just based off of, we will counter out of this one because we could Hody a couple, like in 2 turns if we need to clear board. He does Kuzan. We could at this point just swing 5. Play out the Hawkins on curve. However, I don't ever like leaving myself without a Dawn for leader ability. And if I plan to 8-drop the next turn, I won't have one for leader ability either. So I'd probably want him to try and use some resources now. We'll just carrot freeze the brand new, leave him just 1 card to swing with. So if he wants to swing with Guzan to get the minus, he'll have to sacrifice leader swing. So yeah. And honestly, we'll take here. I don't know if I plan to Hody on curve. Actually, no, I will counter out. For this kind of a match, I don't plan on ever having to, and there's the Jack, ever having to really counter out to save my characters. However, we might this turn, but we'll just swing 5 at Kuzan. Oh, we'll just swing 5 at Kuzan, hopefully get a counter, or just let it go, you know. But now we'll play out the Rosinante to play out our Bonney to freeze his Jack. So now, even though we don't have Don for leader ability, we're still in a bit better spot because he has lost access to one of his removal. Freezing the Jack is your best way to deal with it because even if he can't attack, so yeah, he's going to try KO our Rosinante. This, however, I don't believe KOing simultaneously will allow him to KO both. I believe you have to KO the 8-drop first. Yeah, so we at least get our 5-drop to survive. So next turn, we will counter out one of the swings, the 5. So yeah, maybe he didn't realize that this protected the 5-drop. When something is like this, similar to the 2-cost Rosinante blocker, basically, let's take the first one, see what we get. Okay, so yeah, a lot of dead cards. Fortunately for us, he doesn't have a lot of in hand. So we can swing 5 of life, swing 6, and then play out the 10 cost. Again, he's kind of low on resources, so he's more tempted to take these swings. We have a Hody in hand to go for game on maybe a following turn. We'll play out our 10 cost, freezing all of his rested character and leader. So now he doesn't have the Kuzan, playing out the Gecko Moria. He doesn't have a lot in trash. However, he does have a Rebecca. He kind of get a 2k back from Rebecca and then search with brand new. That might be what he plays. Also depends on what we draw into next turn. It might be a just swing out, play 2 blockers type of turn. He gets a 2k counter back, yep, and doesn't choose to take the brand new search, so he will have that. We will, of course, just let that go. That is a big swing. We'll probably just swing to apply pressure on his board. We know he got a 2k back, right? So we know he has a 2k counter in hand, so we either get a block or 2 cards swinging into the Jack. Swinging into the Kuzan, he'll probably just take. But I'll still swing into the Jack just to hopefully get cards out of his hand to make going for game our following turn a little bit easier. He does choose a block out, so maybe he doesn't have counter, or maybe he's going to Gecko the next turn. However, he can't KO our Hawkins in any shape or form this turn, unless he swings out with everything and then plays the 9-drop Kaido. But no, because that's an yeah, that's a new character. Unless he plays out another Jack, that's the only way. You have to swing out with everything and then play another Jack from hand. But this Rouge is a much easier target. This basically just gives us a 7k body to swing with maybe the next turn. 3 life. We know he doesn't have too much counter. We know he has a 2k, but he still has 5 in hand. So going for game with like a Hody would be kind of risky. We'll have to see what we draw into. We do have more Hawkins to play out. So I'm probably just not going to be afraid to swing with this. Even if he swings back into it, that's fine. Essentially want him to get him down to 1 life next turn, maybe. But his board is kind of scary, not going to lie. Does depend what he does here. He might even be thinking about going for game. He is going to try and get rid of our... Okay. Getting rid of our 10 cost. It does ensure that we will keep both of our blockers. We'll get rid of one of the Hawkins. We'll, of course, just rest his Jack. We are in a bit of a bad spot. He's got 2 9k swings. So I don't have enough counter to just free block this. We are in a rough spot. The best I can hope for is a... I don't think I can Hody. Actually, Hody might be my only bet to win. Might be my only chance to win. He has 2 cards in hand. We know he has... we know he has a T-Bone 2k. Carrot. No, not a freeze. So we know he has a 2k. We have technically the swings to go for game. However, not enough to do so. This is kind of a rough matchup for me. All these big bodies and not enough 10 drops for us, right? This is kind of where I'm wishing that I had a searcher for the 10 drop. Unfortunately for us. Shoot, dang. We can freeze 2 things and bait out a counter. We could maybe survive for a turn. I don't know. I hope he counters out here. Right. Unfortunate for me. So we won't play something else out. I think it's just GG, honestly. Even if I freeze the Jack, right? Yeah, we're pretty much just game over here. Like I could have gone for game. However, leaving me 3 Dawn after Hody, I would have had to swing 5 or 6 first and hope he just takes without realizing it, and then hope a 7 swing goes on for there. We're just gonna probably GG here. Probably not anything we can really do. Yeah, not really a point. So we'll just concede on the next swing. I do kind of just want to see what he had in terms of counter and then also his life. Definitely. So he KOs the blocker. So we had a dead card. Okay, so he didn't have any counter. However, he got 2 more 2Ks from life. So definitely would have been probably impossible for us to go for game with the Hody there. We would need 1 more swing. So losing our 10 drop definitely hurts. Perona. All right. Interesting hand. Not what I'll probably want to keep. So we get a decent top end. I don't know if Perona's running Jack in set 8, but I assume she would. Right? I don't see a reason not to, at least. Maybe still just running more of the traditional Wano package, as they picked up the You Can Be My Samurai. They take the first swing. We'll search. Pick up the Cavendish. So yeah, definitely any black matchup, definitely still a hard matchup for us to win, right? Especially against any 5 life leader, you know? They get to draw and then play out another Momo. Lot of searching, and we still don't really have a 4 Dawn play, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately. Actually, we're on 5. So I can just Cavendish. Probably kill me. Probably kill the Cavendish, right? So maybe a Bonney? No, I want to save Bonney in case he does run Jack. We'll just go here. We got to just swing into one of... Unfortunately, we got to swing into one of his Momonosuke, right? Obviously, just lets that go. And most likely just going to use this, right, to lower our Cavendish into the range where you can just rest it. Yep. And could just, yeah, play out Hiyori into Ryuma. Ah, yeah. So we'll just take these 6. Get a 0 cost. We're at 7. We can just Cavendish, or no, Hawkins. So we'll swing here. Do need to get rid of that. And then just Hawkins. We do have 2 Hawkins. Playing out those might help us a lot. That 7k stat line. Although they have a ton in hand, 10 cards, we're still almost there with 7, and we lead them on 1 life. So we have more resources, possibly. And right now, their board isn't that scary. However, they're on 8 Dawn, so Gecko could come out. Although they don't really have too much to Gecko for, right? They could Hiyori, but playing out another Ryuma doesn't really help them, I guess. So they're just going to search, get the You Can Be My Samurai event. Honestly, would be kind of worth it to interesting. Hopefully they just let that go. I could have attached more Dawn, honestly, but didn't. I think we'll just have to play out the Hawkins. That leaves us 3 Dawn, so we can swing 9, get them down to 2 life. Even though with their big hand, they still might be tempted to take this. Because right now we have a lot of Dawn to defend this guy, and no real sense just leaving him standing the entire time if that's the only bodies that we can play out. We will be able to 10-drop next turn. They kind of were a little scared of us freezing their Jack, I guess. Which, I mean, I don't know why they didn't at least swing first before playing him out. Maybe could have got a card out of my hand. I could have obviously blocked with the 7, but you never know if I'm going to block that first swing and then they just stack a bunch to swing into him. That's also fine. I don't really mind too much when people do that, because it ensures they don't play out another card. But right now, 12 in hand is a lot scary, you know, very scary. They do run a lot of 2Ks, I believe, with the Wano package, right? You've got all the Otama searchers, Izo, I believe all of those are in there. And they've gotten a lot of these cards from the You Can Be My Samurai, right? Not a lot from just searching. A lot of their Momo searches found them that event. Borsellino, interesting. If they were going to try to KO one of my Hawkins, all right, just swinging big into them. We will. Should we rest the blocker? Because I'm not worried about another 8K swing. Am I? Because I have, he's swinging 12, 9, 11, 13. I think I do rest this here and just give him 3 2Ks, because I can just, if he swings 7 at him, I'll just counter 1 and then just 10 drop next turn, and then I can just bully him with swings. So we'll go 5, maybe bait out the Borsellino block, and we just have to get some cards out of his hand, right? Have to get some cards out of his hand. Hopefully he gives us... Okay. I'll still swing at life to get 2 cards, hopefully. To get him down to 7. Cool. Because if I swing here, he just has to counter a 2K, which he had. So we got a bunch of 2Ks out of his hand. We will just freeze all of them. Because he might be tempted to not swing with the Borsalino. Now that my board is a bit scarier. And even if he kills one of these or both, I have another 10 drop. He's going to go to kill our 10 drop though. So we'll see. Using an Ice Age. Still unable to just rest it. Needs another Dawn. However, Perona's didn't activate. Well, no. You can't do both, right? One of the other. Unless he has the Brook, you know, that places into trash. But he's probably just going to rest it now and play a Ryuma. That's probably better for me because then I keep 2 7K swings. Gecko. Cool. So yeah, I'll keep both my 7K swings and just freeze his board again. So basically the same thing, kind of just burning cards out of his hand. Now, as you see, he's down to 5, whereas last turn he was at 11. So we're in a much better spot. We're still at 4 life, so we're a pretty good spot. We can't freeze his Gecko Moria, so he'll have a higher swing, but still just do what we did. Also, definitely could play a Hawkins there too, but no. We're just going to swing 5-7-7. Hopefully get him down to 1 life or just burn out all of his cards. Now he's down to 4. He might even just block out and let go. Yes. Okay. So getting him down to 1 life is pretty good here. Boom. We'll freeze. Boom, boom, boom. So now he only has 5 and 1 life. Basically, we just hope that the 10 drop survives. Maybe we top deck into a Hody, as we haven't seen it yet. Out of 7 cards in trash, 1 life. Do I counter out here? I can't save again. He doesn't know that. So maybe if he wants to play another like Gecko Moria, he might not swing into one of these guys. Or... Oh, okay. See, that was a weird swing because if he swung 8 there, if I did have 1 card in hand, it could have been a 2K. Which would have prevented him from clearing anything. Kind of greedy to want to get the Gecko there, but definitely respect it, you know. He gets a blocker back. The Borsalino. And maybe not even choosing anything for the 2 cost. But now he has 5 cards. The Atama Searcher. See what he picks up. Hopefully not another 2K. He did go through a lot of them. He gets the Momonosuke, so a 1K. Okay. We could be a little greedy. We can just swing big and then play another Hawkins. We can just try and pressure him down to 0 life or no cards in hand. We can swing 7. We might not even need a swing, depending on what he does here. So it gives us 2 cards. We can swing 8. 10. Basically just want to pressure him down to 0 life. And then the Hawkins we play next turn, hopefully really doesn't have a way to get rid of it. So we have a Dawn for life. So statistically, unless he plays out a Hody Jones, he's not going to kill us this turn. We're very healthy. And then also hopefully with only 6 cards, he played out 2 Geckos, right? Looking at his trash. He used a lot of reduction, right? A decent amount. So hopefully he won't be able to just get rid of our Hawkins. The worst case scenario, if he does reduce it and then just rests it and swings into him, given that we only have 1K counter, so we wouldn't be able to really defend it. But he Geckoed twice. So here's the really conundrum. I kind of want to rest the Jack so he can't KO my Hawkins, and I'm probably just going to let my board go. Even though I could have defended that, I don't want to give him all the cards in my hand. So of course, just let that go. And then if he swings at my life, hopefully we get like a Hody to just kind of rush in, right? He's just going to search. However, if he's searching here, oh, okay, he's just drawing with the Samurai. If he's trying to find a blocker, I can just split pretty big. We know he took like a 10k swing last time. So if I go like 11, we'll probably get it. Yeah, Borsellino, that's only enough for one blocker. Best case scenario, we get a Hody from that life or top deck. If not, we just go like 11, right? Okay, yeah, no. 1, 2, 3, 4. That leaves us 6 to go 11 twice. So hopefully he just doesn't have the counter. If he does, I'll probably just die, but we'll just go for it. Yeah. Okay, GG. Yeah, that's the latest deck list for Bonney that I've been running and kind of my game strategy for some of the tougher matchups you might find, being like any black deck really, you know. Still had trouble with it, as you saw. However, I think we had a decent chance into it. If I found more 10 drops, isn't that the story of my life? You know, that probably would have saved us. So yeah, maybe having the baby 5 searcher is the way to go, but really, really hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like just playing out more Hawkins is our better bet. Maybe I should have prioritized that card. However, the 8 drop into the 5 drop really does help you in that situation. You know, we had the turn where we froze the Jack and then we still were able to save at least our 5 drop. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the deck list. Anything you would change, do differently, of course. If you've been playing Bonney, what have you found success with? What kind of package or really thought process? Overall, I just kind of want to point, like, I don't think that in that matchup against the Luffy, the 8 drop Captain Kidd would have helped us too much. You know, I think it would eat cards out of our hand while kind of protecting our board. But I think just having more 10 drops is the better option. Like at a point, I might even cut out a 2k just to run another 10 drop. Maybe even cut out a Zoro for another 10 drop. Maybe cut out an 8 drop to go 2-4, right? Because even though this is a really great combo, just getting that 10 drop consistently, I feel like it's so good. So maybe 4 of in the deck is the way to go. Maybe I'm just playing wrong. Maybe I should have prioritized different things at different times. Of course, let me know in the comments what you thought, anything I messed up on. But either way, that's the list that I've been running. Definitely a lot of different ways to play Bonney in set 8. So I'm very much looking forward to trying more stuff out. But either way, thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in our next video. Bye-bye.